friends. This is Maundy Thursday, and I wanted to greet you today to offer just a few thoughts about this day. On Maundy Thursday, we remember that Jesus washed the feet of his friends and gave that example of love and service. We remember that he offered the new commandment, the great commandment, to love one another as I have loved you. And we remember that he instituted the sacrament of his body and blood. I wanted to talk about that third action on this day. As you all know, we are in an extended season of Eucharistic fasting. We have not been able to celebrate and receive communion for several weeks now. In our tradition, Eucharist is something that we celebrate together. We need to have at least two people present, preferably more. Technically, I suppose I could have celebrated Eucharist with the musicians who gathered on a couple of Sundays to live stream the service, but that just never seemed right to me. We are in this season together. It didn't seem right to let a few people receive communion when we weren't all able to do that together. And so we fasted from Eucharist in this time. And I know how painful that is for all of us. It's certainly been painful for me. We derive so much comfort and strength and spiritual power and love from being able to share and receive communion together. And so this has been really, really hard. Typically on this day, on Maundy Thursday, at the end of the service, we strip the altar. And then at the conclusion, we take the bread and the wine that are in the Maundy, the reserved sacrament. We take it out of our worship space and we extinguish the sacristy lamp as a way to signify the death of Christ and just our own emptiness at that reality. And then the bread and the wine are consumed and the Maundy remains empty and the lamp unlit on Good Friday as a reminder of the death of Jesus. And then on normal years, at the Easter Vigil on Saturday night, we celebrate Eucharist again. We reserve some sacrament, we relight the lamp, and we have that visible sign of Christ's presence with us. Well, of course, this year, because of our Eucharistic fasting, we will not be able to reserve sacrament on Easter Day. And so the Maundy will remain unfilled and the light will remain unlit until we are able to gather and celebrate again in our space with each other. And what a joyful day that can be. I can hardly wait for that day when that's able to happen. But for now, we wait. And I invite you in this Holy Week, in this strange Holy Week of 2020, to let our sorrows and our longing for Eucharist and the emptiness and absence that we feel in this situation, to let that draw us more deeply into the sufferings of this world and into the sufferings of Christ who suffers in all of his children suffering everywhere. And let that absence go deep into us and remind us of the suffering of Jesus. And in this time, as we wait and hope, make this Holy Week at home one to remember. Let the celebrations that we are able to enact in our homes be a sign and a pledge of our hope that someday we will gather together again. Someday we will celebrate communion, big C and small c, that we will be able to be together again in God's good time. But in the meantime, have a blessed Holy Week. Live this story that has changed the world and is changing our lives. Make all of this real for yourself and for your families and in your own life until we are able to gather together again.